Hey everyone, welcome back. You know how we're all about healthy choices? Well, get this. We're diving deep into something you might not expect. Hidden dangers in your pantry.
Yeah, you heard right.
Right?
We're talking olive oil, avocado oil, the good stuff.
Staples, right? But there's this issue that most people don't even think about. It's all about phthalates.
Phthalates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before we get ahead of ourselves, let's break that down for our listeners. What exactly are phthalates?
Well, they're chemicals. Basically, they're what makes plastic flexible. So it doesn't just crack and break. And the thing is, they're in tons of products, but they're not supposed to be in our food.
And yet they can sneak in.
Exactly. Through processing and packaging. And this is especially true with oils.
So even if I'm buying, the fancy organic olive oil in a glass bottle,
Yeah.
there's still a chance it came into contact with plastic somewhere along the line. Yep, that's the problem. And here's the thing. Oils are really good at absorbing these chemicals. So Dr. Paul Saladino, he's a health expert. He did some independent lab tests on a bunch of popular olive and avocado oil brands. Actually, his YouTube video on this is what sparked this whole deep dive.
Interesting.
And the results.
Pretty shocking. Like you'd think the more expensive the oil, the purer it would be, right?
Makes sense?
Well, not necessarily. Some of the pricey olive oils had even higher levels of phthalates than the cheaper ones.
Wow. Okay, so price isn't everything.
Yeah.
What about avocado oil?
That's where things get even more interesting. One brand, Mava, it came in at a crazy 50,000 parts per billion of phthalates. That's wild.
50,000. Okay, I need some context here. How does that compare to something like bottled water? We know that has some phthalate concerns too.
Oh, it's thousands of times higher. It's like oil just attracts these chemicals, like a magnet.
Okay, yeah, I'm starting to see why you call this a hidden danger.
Yeah.
So give us the rundown. Which brands tested best and worst?
Right. For olive oil, Bragg's had the lowest level, something like 650 parts per billion.
Yeah, but brands like Colavita and Cordo Olive, those were way up there, around 4,500 and 6,000 parts per billion.
Yikes. And for avocado oil.
The clear winner was Nutiva, only 75 parts per billion. But some of the popular ones, Chosen Foods, Primal Kitchen, they were over 1,000 and 2,000 parts per billion.
Wow, makes you think twice. So knowing all this is one thing. What do we do about it? I'm standing in the grocery aisle, overwhelmed by all these bottles. What should I be looking for to minimize my exposure?
3 key words: single source organic cold pressed, and always. Always look for oils packaged in opaque glass. That helps limit contamination during processing. Plus, it protects the oil from light, which can make things worse.
Okay, so I've got my perfect low-phthalate oil stashed away in a dark cupboard. What about when I actually want to use it? Does it matter how we cook with these oils?
That's a great question. And it's another thing that Dr. Saladino talks about. He actually has some concerns about the stability of olive and avocado oil at high temperatures.
So even if I found the purest oil, I still need to be careful about how I use it. What's the issue there?
It all comes down to the peroxidation index. Basically, how likely an oil is to break down and create harmful compounds when it's heated. And olive oil and avocado oil, well, they're not the most stable.
So we could be avoiding those harmful phthalates, but creating other problems by cooking with these oils at high heat.
Exactly. That's
Yep.
the concern.
So what's the alternative?
Dr. Saladino suggests, for high heat cooking, try more stable fats. Butter, ghee, tallow, those are much better options.
It's funny. It really makes you think about how much we just take for granted.
Absolutely.
You think we're being all healthy, then bam, there's a whole other layer to think about.
Yeah, it really highlights how connected everything is.
Yeah.
Our health, the environment, the way our food is produced. It's all intertwined.
That's so true. And honestly, this whole oil thing, it kind of reminds me of how confusing nutrition can be. One minute something's good for you, the next minute it's not.
Right. It can be tough to keep up.
So how do we navigate that? How do we actually make sense of all this information without getting totally overwhelmed?
Well, I think the key is to remember that healthy isn't one size fits all. I mean, it really depends on the person, their needs, their lifestyle, even their background,
So instead of chasing the latest fads, we need to focus on understanding the basics.
Exactly. And how those basics apply to you. It's about finding a way of eating that you enjoy, that you can sustain, that makes you feel good. It shouldn't be about rigid rules or guilt,
That makes a lot of sense. It's about informed choices, but also not getting so lost in the weeds that we forget to enjoy food.
Right. Exactly. Food should be enjoyable.
So bringing it back to oils, we don't need to completely write them off, but we do need to be aware of how to use them. Use them in a way that aligns with our goals.
I agree.
Okay, so besides being mindful of those phthalates, choosing oils in dark glass bottles, being careful about high heat cooking. What are some other practical things we can do to minimize our exposure to those unwanted chemicals in the kitchen?
One of the simplest things is to switch from plastic containers to glass or stainless steel. For food storage, it's better for you, better for the environment. It's a win-win.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that. But it can be tough to ditch plastic altogether. Any tips?
Take it slow. You don't have to do it all at once. Maybe just replace a few containers at a time. Start with the ones you use most often, for oils or leftovers.
Small steps, sustainable changes. I like that.
And here's something else. Wash your fruits and veggies really well. It helps to get rid of pesticide residues and other stuff you don't want.
I have to admit, sometimes I skip that step when I'm in a rush.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
We all do. But it makes a difference. Even just a quick rinse is better than nothing.
Okay, noted. From now on, it's a full-on produce wash. No more shortcuts.
Good.
What about cooking methods? We talked about high heat, but are there other things to keep in mind?
It's good to mix it up, steaming, baking, poaching. There are so many ways to cook delicious food without relying on high heat frying all the time.
So many options.
Exactly.
Get creative.
Love it. Okay, this has been so helpful. I feel like I'm walking away with some real action steps here. But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, is there anything else you think our listeners should know? Yeah, don't underestimate the power of community. Talk to your people, friends, family. Share what you're learning. The more we raise awareness, the more we can create change.
That's a great point. We're not in this alone.
Right. Not at all.
We can support each other, learn from each other, advocate for a healthier food system together.
Absolutely. And remember, even small changes can make a difference.
So true. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground here, from the nitty-gritty of salads to practical tips for a healthier kitchen and beyond, but we're not done yet. We'll be right back to explore even more ways to empower ourselves to make healthier choices in our everyday lives. Okay, we're back. And you know what? I was just thinking about something you said earlier about how what we eat, it's not just about our own health.
Right.
It's connected to so much more. Our communities, the environment, the whole system.
It really is. When we make conscious choices about our food, it has this ripple effect that goes way beyond just us.
Exactly. And speaking of making choices, let's get back to some practical tips. We've covered a lot already. But I know our listeners are always looking for actionable advice.
They want to know, what can I do?
Right, exactly. So what are some more things we can do to minimize our exposure, create a healthier environment for ourselves and our families?
Okay, well, we talked about oils, choosing the right ones, storing them properly, but let's zoom out a bit and think about our kitchens as a whole.
I like that. Big picture.
One of the biggest things you can do is to really reduce your reliance on plastic. For food storage, switch to glass or stainless steel whenever possible.
I've been working on that. It's actually kind of satisfying.
It is. It's like a kitchen detox.
Totally. What else?
Here's one that's so simple, but people forget. Wash your fruits and vegetables really well.
Oh, yeah. I'm guilty of not always doing that, especially when I'm in a hurry.
I know, we all do. But it makes such a difference. It helps get rid of pesticide residues, other stuff you don't want. Think of it as an extra layer of protection.
You're right. Okay, produce wash. From now on, no more skimping.
Good.
What about cooking methods? We talked about the oils and high heat. But are there other things to be mindful of?
Mix it up, Don't be afraid to try different cooking techniques. Steaming, baking, poaching. There are so many ways to cook delicious food that don't rely on high heat.
So many options.
Right. Get creative in the kitchen.
Love it. Okay, this has been so insightful. I feel like I have a whole list of actionable steps. But before we wrap up this deep dive, is there anything else you want to leave our listeners with?
Yeah. Don't underestimate the power of community. Talk to your friends and family. Share what you're learning. Advocate for change. Support businesses that are doing things the right way. It all makes a difference.
I love that. It's about recognizing that we're all in this together.
Exactly. And even small changes can make a big impact.
So true. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today, from those hidden dangers in our pantries to the power of community and everything in between. It's been an eye-opening conversation. And I hope our listeners feel empowered to make healthier choices.
Me too.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. And remember, knowledge is power. So keep learning, keep sharing, and keep making those small but mighty changes that add up to a healthier world for all of us. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay well.